So let's just ignore this test stream thing that's on here. So I'm not really sure why it's on there, but good morning, everyone. I hope that you guys are doing fantastic on this Friday. Cheers to the weekend. We are here. We have made it somehow. And so it's definitely by the grace. There we go. So good morning, good morning, good morning. Good morning to you. I'm pulling you guys up on my YouTube and Facebook. Unfortunately, I can't do it prior to because I have to do it when I can see if I'm on. But good morning. I hope you're off to a good start. Good morning, Dolores. It's good to talk to you bright and early this morning. I'm pulling up YouTube right now. Good morning, Hugh, Ivy. Just bear with me as I pull it up. I hope you guys are ready for today. Good morning, Susan. We have been talking about, Myra, good morning. We've been talking about actively listening. So making sure that we are hearing the voice of God. As I pull it up, I hope you guys are, there we go. Now I am on all of our platforms so I can say good morning to you and see you responding back. So started off on Facebook. And so good morning to those of you watching on YouTube. We have Mary and Tanisha, Sherry Jones, and Darlene. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Kathy and Eugene Woods. I hope you guys are off to a good start this morning. It's going to be a little chilly this weekend, so bundle up. Get ready for the cold. Good morning, Renee and Cheryl Robinson. It's good to see you guys all here. We've been finishing up chapter 9 on actively listening in the book by Charles Stanley on listening to God. If you don't have that book, you should still get it. I think it has some really good concepts and lessons to teach us. Even if we're no longer working on the book together, it's something that you can go back and review and help you as you are staying in fellowship with God. Good morning, good morning. Good morning, Esther Wright and Brenda Ashford. Good morning, Marcy Flowers. Marcy Flowers. Yep, I'm going to drop this phone one more time. And it's almost 7 o'clock. We're going to get finished up with this week's lesson. And yes, it's Friday, Val. It is. And so I am excited that we have made it to the end of this week here. Good morning, Bishop Pickney and Tanya. Yep, so we are going to get started in just a minute, giving people a time to come on. And I'm very excited that you guys have joined me all this week. It has been a great week. It has been a good lesson for me, a good reminder on actively listening, because we are now talking about how important it is to not just be hearers. And a part of hearing is being able to listen. So hearing is just involuntarily hearing the sound, but actively listening has been the process of thinking about what we're hearing, being intentional about what is being said, and giving our undivided attention. And so that's what we've been talking about in this chapter 9 here. And so I asked you guys at the beginning of this week of how are some ways that you listen to God? What were some ways that you listen to God? And people said they listen to him by listening to music. They get quiet and silence and meditate. They talked about reading their word and listening to the man of God or woman of God who was bringing the word. And so there were some of the ways that they said they listened and how they heard from God. And I asked you guys, what were some of the things that you heard previously about listening? And I started off by saying you have 2 ears and 1 mouth, listen twice as much as you speak. And someone put in the chat, which was really good, that children should be seen and not heard. And I just wanted to say about that, now that we're older and we know, we can dispel that thought because we all are children of God and he wants to hear from us, right? And so why do we need to listen to God? And that's where we're going to finish up with the lesson on today. We need to listen and talk to him. We commune with him because we are in relationship with him. So we don't just go before God and pray and just talk and walk away. We sit down and listen to hear what he's saying to us back as well. And these steps that we're talking about this week, I gave 10 steps. I'm going to do the last 2 today and kind of wrap them all up. But these steps are really good for active listening, not just to God, but to your family, to your children. It teaches us how to build relationships with others, because the more that you talk and you listen, you get to know the person's heart. You get to know their character. You build trust. And so that's what's happening with God. That's what's going to happen if you're talking and actively listening to your spouse or to your children, to coworkers, to colleagues. It's just a good skill set to have as you are fellowshipping with others and building relationships. Okay. So that's why we're talking about this one today. So I'm going to go through the last sets of steps to actively listening to make sure that we all have it. So we started off by talking about being expecting that when we pray and when we talk and we ask God to speak, we're expecting that he is going to speak back to us. We don't have anything attached to it of saying what he's going to say, but we know that he is going to speak. And then we're going to be quiet, right? We're going to be quiet. We're going to find a quiet space that we're going to go to, a quiet time. And we're going to quiet our minds and our souls so that we can hear what it is that God is saying to us. And when we find that we're so distracted in our mind that we can't get it quiet, we're going to see what those worries, anxieties are, and we're going to cast our cares on God. And I said, even do a visualization of you giving that thing over to God, knowing that he's going to take care of it, so you can clear your mind and silence the space so that you can hear from him, right? So we're going expectantly, we're going quietly, we're going openly. We're open to hearing what the Lord has to say to us. We're confident that he is going to carry out the things that he's telling us to do. He's going to give us all of the steps, right? But we're open to not just praise, but we're open to criticism, because we know God has plans for us, and they are plans of good and not evil. Right? So he loves us. He cares for us. So he's not going to tell us things to harm us. He's telling us things to prosper us. And sometimes we have to sharpen certain areas. We have to kill certain things and behaviors that we have so that we can get to the promise. And so we have to be open to the criticism and the correction, as well as the praise and the presence, right? So we're open for whatever it is that God has for us. We're also, now we're talking about being patient. That's a skill also, right? We don't come and say, God, I need you to answer this right now. You need to do it right now in this moment, always thinking that he's going to give you every part of the answer. Sometimes he has to give it to you in steps. Sometimes it is a process, because we're not always ready for everything that he has for us. He is a big God, and he gives us big blessings. He has big plans for us, so much bigger and greater than we can ever think or imagine. And sometimes we're just not ready for those things right away, right? So he has to build our strength, build our capacity, build our skill set, so we can't handle it all. He doesn't want to hurt us by giving it to us. So we have to take the necessary steps and be patient and trust that he is going to give us what we need in the time that we need it. Timing is everything. If we get it too soon, it won't be any good, right? So we want to make sure that we are patient when we are coming to God. And then today we're talking about submissive, right? We're going to listen submissively. We're going to listen and say, God, whatever your will is, I am willing to do it. I trust you. And sometimes that's hard, right? Because sometimes we're saying, like, I am going to do the thing, but do I have to do it that way? Can we find another way to do it? So we want to make sure that however he's telling us to do it, that we're willing to do that thing, and we're submitting to his will and his way. And we're checking in to make sure that we're on the right path. And one of the last steps for today is reverently. And I like this one because I like all of them. You know, there's some of them are more difficult than others, and that's what we're going to work through. But reverently, because we're in awe of what God is doing for us, right? We're coming and we're grateful that he is even speaking to us. We don't want to get so common that we think that this is something that God has to do. No, we're here to serve him. And we are grateful that he even has a plan for us, that he continuously talks to us, that he wants to bless us, that he has great things in store for us. So we're always coming with the mindset of saying, God, I am grateful that you are even doing this with and for me, that you have me a part of your plan, and you have a plan for my life. So the last two steps was submissively and reverently, right? Now, why are we learning these? We are learning these to strengthen our relationship with God so that we can hear his voice. We'll know it's him when he's speaking to us. We're building this relationship to say, yeah, that sounds like something that God would say to me. And if I am not sure, then I'm going to consult with the Holy Spirit to say, is this of God? Is this something that I'm supposed to be doing in this timing? And God, this is a little difficult for me. I'm challenged. Can you give me the steps to do it? And so you have to be attentive, because that was one of the steps. You're going to be attentive to what he's saying. I want to follow every single word that you are saying. I don't know. I remember when I was younger and I played Simon Says, right? And I used to love that game because they'll get us in line and they'll say, Simon says walk 5 steps. Simon says go. Simon says stop. And so everybody all excited. Some people, they just couldn't play Simon Says because they just couldn't follow the directions, right? Because they wasn't listening. They was too excited. And so, but what Simon Says is sometimes the person would say, go, and you just take off. Well, you out. Because Simon didn't say go. Whose voice was that? You just follow the direction. That's not what this is, and that's how it is. So sometimes it's hard to follow God's direction when we're going through a lot of things that's difficult. But when things are going good and we get excited, sometimes we miss steps then also, because we like, I got this. Yeah, you see other people, you excelling, you advancing, and it's like, Simon says go, Simon says go. But now you're not listening anymore. You like, I'm on it, I got it, and you forget. And you miss a step and you got to start all over. So what do? We look at these steps. We pay attention to them. We examine ourselves. We find out, are there steps that I'm not so good at? And how do I work on these steps? How do I strengthen these steps? Because all of them are important in order to get to where you need to go. And sometimes it's easier to do certain steps when things are going well. And sometimes it's hard to do some of those steps, because when we have an immediate need for God, it's hard to listen patiently, because we're like, God, I need this done right now. But it's equally hard when you winning sometime to be as attentive, because you feel like you got this. So I need you to take this time to look at these steps that we've talked about at this week. Figure out which ones you're strong at, figure out which ones you're weak at, and then strengthen those areas. And then examine yourself to say, am I always strong in this area? When do I falter in this area? But all the steps are equally important to get to the plan that God has for you. I hope that you've learned something from this week. I've learned a lot. I've looked at these steps. I'm examining myself, being quietly praying and seeking. That's one of the ones that I continuously work on, because we live in such a noisy world. And so sometimes when I'm sitting down thinking, 1,000 things are coming into my brain, and I have to do a brain dump, write all those things down, put them to the side, cast those cares on God, and then come back and be quiet. So all of us can strengthen some area in order for us to stay in the will and the plan of God. It's been an honor and a pleasure to work with you guys on this week of doing this chapter. I pray that this week is great for you. I pray that you take some time to examine yourself and your steps with listening. I pray that this is a great week for you, and I'll see you guys Sunday. As you go out on your day, be safe.